I think, Omar, you mentioned that you've been around for 3 years now, and you said you're just starting to open up and start to look at connections and what you can connect and bring value to your customers. Why now? And why not before?
Well, setting up a new mobile money deployment in a country where you're the first person to do so takes time. We had to work a lot on customer education and just trying to establish the trust level for customers to walk into our shops or actually open up a wallet and start doing transactions. That really took us a long time. There are platform considerations also, because our platform, and I think this goes for just about every platform out there, usually they're very, it takes time to actually integrate and partner up with other. It's not as easy as it sounds. Just partnering up with MoneyGram, it took us nearly 6 months to do that, because there's intense development and testing required over there. And we really wanted to set the groundwork ready to establish the trust. I mean, partnering up with the ecosystem players, when you go to them from day one and they don't even know who EasyPaisa is, and you're just doing a couple of 100 transactions, they're very reluctant to actually partner up with you. For example, the payment services that I talked about, or ticketing services that I talked about. You really need to build up the base to actually go to these players and then tell them or show to them that there are significant customers using your accounts today, and that there is value in actually connecting to your network. So it's not something that we've just started with. It's something that we started with earlier this year. I think we got the resources in place also within the organization, because initially you're just working on getting your money transfers and bill payments working. You really don't have the resources to go out and start talking to other network players. It's an ongoing effort. We've kicked it off, and we're looking at some good results. So we're getting some good partners to actually connect to our system for either disbursements or payments. And hopefully, in the long run, we'll be connecting with a lot of banks and whatnot also.
So we're starting to see more and more connections, and listening to you guys, it seems that you're connecting to more and more players. I'm assuming now it's very time consuming. You mentioned 6 months with MoneyGram. Where are the other barriers that you see in this? Have you had to not interconnect with partners you wanted to connect with?
Yeah, just to add to the point, I think mine is purely around technology in terms of the speed of being able to achieve the level of integration that you require for some of these development. Omar talked about 6 months. In some cases, it takes even longer to achieve that in some of our deployments. So in as much as operators, we are open to having on board a lot of services, we are also constrained in some respect in terms of the speed of adoption, because our customer requests and requirements keeps emerging. I mean, we have a lot of exciting customer innovation, and we do a lot of deep dive into our customers and understand what their future needs are. But in terms of us being able to meet those services on a timely basis is sometimes constrained. But also importantly is also the cost of delivering those integration vis-a-vis the return on investment, because as MNOs, we are equally very interested in the return on whatever dollar we put in the system. And we also need to justify to our board why we need to make some investments. Of course, earlier on in the day, we talked about the fact that it's also very difficult to justify some of these investments to our board. So yes, the cost of technology and the cost of delivery is sometimes a constraining factor in our deployment and speed too.
It struck me when you were talking about the connections that you're making to mobile money. It's airline tickets, it's American Express, it's ATMs, it's apps for smartphones. Is this more something for the top end of the customers, or is it also for the unbanked, the opportunities in interoperability and interconnections? What do you think about that?
Yeah, you see, the point about the nature of adoption is that once customers, the bank customers, have access to the service, if you look at the payment corridor or the transfer corridors that we have, you have for instance, in my market, you have a lot of transaction flow from the CBD, the Central Business District of Kampala, across the country. And most of these customers typically are banked. And the ability to be able to wire money across and getting those people connected is very relevant. If you look at bill payment, for instance, which is one of our very strong products, we're currently connected with the water company and the electricity company. And these are services that are needed across the country. And for us, it connects both the banked and unbanked in that space. So we're seeing a lot of transactions happening in the bill payment arena, which translates into a lot of banked as well as unbanked customers. But more importantly, I think that the unbanked customers are beginning to appreciate the service and are beginning to use it. And you know, over about 5 months of deploying, for instance, bill payment services, we have nearly about 10% of users, or the electricity company users who are actually using the service.
On that, do you have any advice for younger mobile money deployments that are starting out? What advice would you give them? You're two deployments with over 3 years, and you're 8 years. What would you give them if they want to have an open strategy and want to connect with as many players as possible? What is the key messages you would like to extend?
Well, number one, work with your regulators. You won't succeed if you don't get favorable regulation on your way. Number two, be or accept that mobile money is not just P2P. It is beyond P2P. You only earn so much from P2P, but you can earn a lot from other revenue pools, so be open to that. And third one would be for the lack of standards in terms of the technical interfaces. So maybe just try to keep your platform as open as possible. Be prepared with the investments that you need to do. Sometimes the return may not necessarily be in the form of transaction fees. The return may be in the form of lesser churn on the part of your parent, parent because our company is a subsidiary of Globe Telecom. So the benefits not just simply can be seen from the point of view of transaction fees or service fees that you get, but possibly a more loyal subscription base or subscriber base for the telco. So overall, you're still achieving your objective, trying to add value to what your company brings to the subscribers.
Okay. Anything to add?
I think one of the important points to keep in mind is that a lot of players, a lot of branchless banking or mobile money players when they hear about interoperability, their first reaction is maybe fear. Oh, how is this going to happen? Or what are the different things which we'll have to do? From our example, I can tell that there are value chains in place, and then wherever there is value created, it can be shared across the value chain, and there are multiple opportunities over here to actually deliver benefits to the customers, to the end users. For us, again, we're a telco, and we would love it if customers actually keep our SIM in their mobile phone for as long as possible. So we really identify the use cases which are more frequent usage, and then we try to actually go about and start building them. So the initial products that you roll out with, like bill payments or money transfer, these are more of like once a month transactions. What you want to do is actually move towards more frequent transactions like airtime top-ups, or actually even go into merchant payments or retail purchase, for example. So these are this is again something that we are focusing on, and again it's time consuming. It takes time. It's a hit and trial effort. You need to make sure that your system is up for it. The system can support you on the developments and the time and the cost that you have to invest on it, and that your deployment team or the staffing that you have within your mobile money deployment is big enough to actually go out and start getting these integrations in place.
Great.
For me, I think the key word is being open, and being open in all levers in terms of being open-minded about your deployment, and also being open and listening to your customer in terms of your evolution path. That would sum up for me what you need to do to be successful. Just be open and be ready to invest.